So the servers are back online and the new event is here. We can get a whole host of new rewards along with a new shop update. We actually did get the new cat skin here along with a new battle pass. There are also a whole lot of other changes to be aware of, including improvements to amateur expeditions, the new pouch from the raid merchant where you can get guaranteed traits, but it actually feels like a bit of a scam, more on that later. There's a whole bunch of new lithograph entries here, a new morph we can obtain, and more. So let's go through everything you need to know in this video. To start things off, the new Lunar Year event. We have this check-in where we can claim rewards over 14 days. This includes solar steed lanterns. What you need to do with those is go to a horse statue, one of the main hubs, interact with it while you have that lantern, and you get a lucky red envelope in return, which guarantees a minimum of 1 million solent, but can even give you upwards of 100 million. So what did we get? 2 million. Additionally, if you stayed logged in for up to 3 hours, you can get these additional rewards, which include some neat food here that you can use instead of whatever other stuff you're using, and a New Year's card. This card you can give to certain NPCs and they will reward you with different types of housing furniture. There are 7 different types that can be obtained by visiting different NPCs. And if you interact with the same NPC again, you can obtain that same furniture item again. You will ultimately need to go around the areas to look for them. And when we get a list together, I'll leave it in the video description and the pinned comment below. But we then want to visit an event merchant. This is where you will be able to trade in New Year's coins for useful items, including some chaos runes. These coins you will simply get by doing your co-op dungeons. You can even do the trial. The exact amounts you will get are listed here. The most efficient is to do the random epic queue, as you get 200 coins for every chest you open. Trials should only give you 125 coins, despite requiring the same amount of currency per chest. And then to spend your dimensional contract token ones, I will need to check this, but it should be best doing the random elite queue to get 100 coins instead of just 20. And you will not get any of those coins by doing a dungeon below level 50. So that's simply where you will get your coins. And then you'll be able to purchase all the rewards you want here. Just be aware, these are all total limits and you only have 2 weeks to get everything you want. So the next thing to look at here is the new battle pass. And this is actually going to give that llama people were hoping for. It was released on the Korean server in the shop a little while back. But that's the maximum level 50 reward here on the premium track. The other unique rewards include this emote. It's just called Strut Turn. On the free track, there's this emote, Cheek Heart. Back on the premium track, you can get a new Amatoy, this guy. And on level 1 of the premium track, you'll get this morph, a reskin of a horse. By looking at the total amount of rewards, if you spend 500 Lucent, this is all of what you're getting. It's up to you if it's worth it. But for me, it's not. I'd rather save that Lucent for new gear traits, particularly with the brooch upcoming. Jumping then to the shop, we can indeed see we got the release of this cat skin. There's a bit of a preview scene of it here too. You can of course remove that coat in the options. And then this is what the full outfit looks like. In terms of those ears, there is a second option, which simply gives it a heart pin. And you can of course change the color on all this too, just like so. But it will set you back 1,100 Lucent to get it. Other than that, there are some shop rotations with the return of the Moon Dragon weapons, and they may come out with some new celebration packs, as they kind of did here for the Korean server when they released this skin, which brought these weapon skins. But they usually delay updating these till later in the day, or even later in the week, so you can always check back. But now, just to confirm some new changes, in war games you should have the option when you create a game to select Battlegrounds as the content option, and we can indeed. And there's even the map options here, which should get added the second map when that arrives in April. Looking at amateur expeditions, you can now get up to 44 of these abyssal contract token points per expedition here. But these expeditions are still 10 hours, but you can do 3 of those at once. Back in the Mirror Boutique, they should have added the option now for a random outfit. Selecting this will even show us some outfits that we don't even have available. So I'm not sure how useful this actually is. Again, we can clearly see all those new lithograph entries here, but these items are pretty hard to get and pretty expensive that I don't really think it's worth spending Lucent to get those items to get these rewards. It would just be primarily if you got a lucky chest drop and didn't need anything from that chest from that specific boss. But now let's have a look at the new Raid Merchant update. You can see here how we can now, once per week, buy this pouch for 30 entropy shards that guarantees gives us a trait of one of the items. The unfortunate thing is when we look at this, we only see a 5% chance of any of the following gear pieces. It does not give the exact details on what specific trait will drop. However, if we go and open this, we can then see that it's actually only a 5% chance that you'll obtain a heroic trait, within a 95% chance you obtain a regular trait. So what this ultimately means is it's a bit of a scam. You're spending 30 entropy shards to gamble on which gear piece that you're getting a trait from. And then it's only a 5% chance to actually get one of the good traits, the high value heroic traits. And the issue is the heroic traits for just weapons is generally significantly more expensive, as they're significantly more valuable than any of the armor or accessory pieces. So you end up spending 30 entropy shards on this pouch rather than saving, say, 100 entropy shards and getting a weapon. And then this weapon, you'll be able to extract the trait and sell that trait. But at least you know you've 100% obtained a weapon trait, even if it has that same 5% chance only to be an heroic trait, giving you some stat points. Additionally, keep in mind, if you do get a really bad weapon trait from the one you purchased, you can always dissolve this thing and you get 15 entropy shards back. On top of the fact, armor and accessory traits are usually, even in the worst case, a ton cheaper, a ton less valuable than just the weapon traits. Like, even the lowest here is 50 versus 10 on armor and 28 on accessories. So buying this pouch just does not feel worth spending your entropy shards on them. In general, you'd just be better off buying a weapon and then deciding, are you going to extract that trait to sell it or simply dissolve it to save some more entropy shards for later. Ultimately, what I would recommend is just don't spend your entropy shards. Save them. Wait for better deals later. That's at least what I'm going to do, particularly with the new brooch coming along. We don't know what stats that may have, and it could be well worth buying a bunch and getting the traits off it, or even to just use yourself. Me personally, I will no longer be buying this pouch. I just did to check out the drop rates. So let's move on. They also stated that they added the drop chance, not just when you're going to upgrade it like we had before, but when you're going to switch it. So what I should do here is switch my critical hit chance over to heavy attack chance, and I can now see it's a 33% chance it will be the max value. Let's go and convert it, and we get the 29. So we will need to go and upgrade this thing. It is a 42% chance that it gets the max value and a 50% chance it gets the middle value. And I need to spend these resources here. So we'll do it. And we get the 38. So we at least got a bit of an upgrade. And now it's an 87% chance that it will get to the 42 points. All of these are such minuscule upgrades with these tiny amount of stats that I don't even think it's worth spending all these resources. Could be just better off saving them for a newer update. And finally, you can see in the Battleground store, they added a chase item. if you save up 2,800 combat coins, you can get the Vanguard Eagle. In our morphs page, you can see what that looks like here. A pretty cool reskin of an eagle with armor. So finally, let's look at some weekly reminders. Kind of bare minimum to do. Visit your Sundries merchant to grab the contract scrolls. Do your resistance contracts, spending those contract rights, whether that's through the fetch and kill quests here, or cooking contracts, and grab yourself the extract stones and the ink. Ideally be in an active guild which does their guild raids every week, and spend your coins to at least get the conversion stones. Go to your different field bosses, there are 5 per day, but at least prioritize going to the arch bosses. As a result, you'll get a chance at some valuable drops, and also some resistance medals, which you can spend to get some valuable rewards here, including unlock stones. You can, of course, as those of you have pointed out, spend your region contribution certificates doing dynamic events to obtain more of these resistance medals, but can take quite a bit of time. You can do your battlegrounds and arena to get combat coins. I would generally recommend, if you still need rune levels, to purchase the rune chests. You can go to the Lawless Wilds, Nebula, kill enemies, get Nebula stones, purchase your unlock stones, blessing pouches and chests. Spend your dungeon currencies, doing your party matchmaking, ideally on the random queues. If you just want the fastest ones, you can do the random normal queue, but for the Lunar Event, I believe it's better to do the random elite queue, and then the random epic queue for the second type of currency. But it can just be better to do the trial queue and take away the additional point rewards here. And then of course you can do your raid, Tadal's Tower, solo dungeons, and Gate of Infinity. And that's pretty much it for the kind of bare minimum to do in Throne of Liberty these days. There is of course a whole bunch of optional activities here, particularly if you're in a very active guild and enjoy doing extra PvP content. So there's plenty of content to do in the game, it's just whether or not if you've been doing it all from day one and may have gotten a bit bored at this point. So you can only hope for future updates with new content. In terms of PvE, if you finish Tower of Greed for this season, simply wait till the 26th and you'll be able to do it again with new rewards. But otherwise, we did have Tico talks, and he promises big server merges. It'll make the servers a whole lot more popular, but it will kind of screw over South American servers. And it plays into the worry, what happens when you have multiple characters already across those regions? Will you all of a sudden end up with 6 character slots in the Central American server region, or what? Are they just going to delete your characters? This has a lot of controversy around it. Some people actually prefer, particularly PvE enjoyers, to be on a dead server to be able to farm rewards in peace. But in terms of the health for the game and PvP balancing, the game is kind of designed around having a lot of players on one server. But it will also mean all those arch boss weapons will be going up in price. There will be not as many drops, since there will no longer be as many open world PvP bosses with a reduction in servers like this. And otherwise, the big new content drop is coming in April. So quite a while to wait. No harm to take a break if you want to. It will bring 2 new co-op dungeons, a new Battlegrounds map, and a new brooch item, which we may very well see a heroic version. So it could be worth saving up heroic materials for it. But we have no clue what traits it's going to have, so can't really give an advice on saving that. But save your extract stones, save your ink for lithographs, and you should be able to make some Lucent early on when it releases. But with that said, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys around.